This is the Franklin Street Bridge in downtown Houston. Here it crosses Buffalo Bayou and intersects two major streets connecting I-10 to the central city. Like much of Houston, the area has evolved significantly since the city was founded in 1837. Predating the bridge by half a century and now hidden beneath it, an early Houston family's burial crypt has long been a piece of intrigue. Once a nearly inaccessible and ignored relic of the past, the Donnellan Crypt is today another point of interest on the Bayou's extensive hike and bike trails. But in sorting out the history of the crypt, it can be difficult or even impossible to tell if the story we're told is truth or urban legend. Let's investigate the fascinating and perhaps embellished history of the Donnellan Crypt and see how it plays into one of the most unique parts of Houston today. Okay, now back to the Bayou. Although today a nicely landscaped waterway, in the early days of Houston, this was an active part of the city's port. Barges and steamships would tie up along the bulkheaded banks of the Bayou, loading and unloading cargo and people from around the world. Many of the buildings along the Bayou had first floors at street level with basements closer to the water. It was in that version of Houston that the Donnellan family got established. Timothy Donnellan, the patriarch of the family, was successful in the tin business and envisioned a grand resting place for his family along the edge of the Bayou. Constructed for his death in 1849, the family crypt was built out of local brick on a sloping site below the street level of downtown, facing the then active water of the busy port of Houston. An interesting side story here, the Donnellan son and one of the crypt's once inhabitants died by accidentally exploding a cannonball left over from the Civil War he found alongside the bayou, which was apparently not unheard of back then. There were allegedly 3 sunken Confederate barges in downtown, and live munitions have been removed from the bayou's mud as recently as 1968. Henry predeceased his mother by several years, and they became the second and third people to be buried in the crypt, with her being laid to rest in 1867. The crypt became an object of interest around 30 years later when a Franklin Street bridge crossing the bayou was proposed. Before construction, the 3 Donnellan family bodies were exhumed and reburied in Glenwood Cemetery. Link in the description to a video about Glenwood. So what's left to see of the Donnellan Crypt today? The crypt's wall and entry were left and allegedly expanded into added brick matching the width of the bridge. It's not quite clear where the original crypt was and what was expanded during construction of the bridge. The bridge was completed in 1903, effectively concealing and making the Donnellan Crypt inaccessible to all but the most adventurous. The crypt is now a point of interest on the Buffalo Bayou Hike and Bike Trail, following an over-the-water expansion that opened in 2016. In truth, it would be an easy spot to miss if you weren't looking for it. Now to the controversy over the crypt's history. Much of what we know about the story here is unconfirmed. There are few articles on the Donnellan family and no photos I could find of the crypt before the bridge was built. There are also mixed stories about why so many munitions fell into the bayou. In fact, the historical marker once adorning the site was not reinstalled after Tropical Storm Allison because so much of the story on it could not be confirmed. Some people even claim that this door is not the Donnellan Crypt at all, and that the original crypt was demolished during construction of the bridge. Long after the days when steamships docked in downtown Houston, a piece of the city's interesting and obscure past hides below a bridge thousands of people cross every day, a place where centuries of history can be found within a few feet of each other. If you venture down here, you can see the basements of buildings where cargo came in and out, and how nearly 2 centuries of change have played out. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, throw me a subscribe and come see where I go next.